All right, settle in, my intellectually curious friends. You want to know about the Monroe Doctrine? Fantastic. Let me tell you a story of a young, scrappy nation, fresh off its "I'm not your brother anymore" fight with Britain, putting on its big boy pants and declaring to the world's bullies, "This sandbox is mine now." Our tale begins in the year 1823. The United States is about 50 years old, still figuring out how to walk without tripping over its own constitution. Over in Europe, the Holy Alliance, a delightful name for a group of monarchs who missed the whole divine right memo, was looking at the newly independent countries of Latin America like they were a lost Netflix subscription. Spain, in particular, was moping, saying, "But I want my colonies back." Meanwhile, Russia was chilling in Alaska and creeping down the Pacific coast, building forts like an overzealous property developer. The whole scene looked like a vulture convention circling a brand new barbecue. Enter our hero, or at least the guy who read the speech, President James Monroe, a perfectly fine gentleman with magnificent sideburns, which were, of course, the primary source of political power in the 19th century. His Secretary of State, John Quincy Adams, who had the personality of a very smart, very grumpy hedgehog, did most of the heavy thinking. Adams looked at this mess and said, "You know what? Let's just say something." And so, in Monroe's annual address to Congress, the 1823 version of a presidential blog post, he dropped the doctrine that would forever bear his name. The core message was stunning in its audacity, wrapped in the diplomatic language of the day, the hands-off policy to the European powers. He essentially said, "Look, your lovely, oppressive, colonial systems are super cute. For over there, the Americas we're full up on tyranny thing. No new colonies allowed. Don't even think about it. The we want tea boogie lie in a brilliant stroke of weary so mature," he added, "and we, in return, promise to stay out of your endless dramatic squabbles in Europe. You keep your circus, we'll keep our circus." This part would be hilariously ignored about a century later. Now, here's the sarcastic punchline you've been waiting for. The United States had roughly the military strength of a wet napkin at the time. Its navy was a collection of rowboats with delusions of grandeur. If Britain or France had really wanted to waltz back into Latin America, they could have. So why did it work? Because standing behind the USA, rolling its eyes but holding a massive cannon, was the British Royal Navy. Britain had a fantastic new trade relationship with Latin America and didn't want Spain messing it up. So America puffed out its chest and gave the speech while Britain silently cracked its knuckles in the background. It was the geopolitical equivalent of a scrawny kid saying, "Don't make me call my big brother." The legacy, it's rich. For decades, the doctrine was about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. Then, around the 1890s, America suddenly remembered it, flexed its new industrial muscles, and said, "You know what? We didn't just mean European interference. We also mean we get to interfere whenever we want." It became the ultimate reverse card for US intervention in Latin America for a century. So, to summarize, the Monroe Doctrine was a bold, sarcastically ambitious bluff by a teenager of a nation backed by its estranged dad Britain that it eventually grew into and used to become the neighborhood bully itself. A true, heartwarming story of principles evolving into power. Isn't history just delightful?